This is the 22nd season of Bass Talk Live. BTL is presented by Bass Cat Boats, Strike King Lures, Aftco, Pro Guide Batteries, Spro, Gamakatsu, The Bass Tank, Beatdown Outdoors, and Sunline.
BTL coming at you.
Good morning and welcome to an early morning edition of BTL Bass Talk Live, where we're going to talk about bass fishing. Usually 8:30 a.m. Central Time, but today's guest is, as they say, putting in the work. One of the new rules that they made for this past season was going back to the 30-day off limit. So like if you're an angler, you can go around, you can jump on the body of water, you can do some research, you can figure it out. And that's what today's guest is doing. He is a long way from home. He is up yonder, I believe is how they say it in his home state there. A long way from Rocky Top, but he is tangling with some smallmouth on a fishery where he has tangled with some smallmouth in the past. So we're going to chat with him a little bit about that. We've kind of done a smallmouth week this week. We kicked things off with Charlie Hartley, who gave us his top 5 Great Lakes smallmouth destinations, and then paired it with his top 5 smallmouth baits, and then his top 5 people that he likes to smallmouth fish with. I mean, Steve Clapper was number 1 there. So basically you have Charlie Hartley, Carolina rigging on Lake Erie with Steve Clapper. So you can kind of mix that. And then we had Ken Duke on yesterday, where we talked about a number of things, including fashion styles from the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and today, and how that has evolved. Like if you think that the dye sublimated jerseys are over the top now, you obviously have never seen Jimmy Houston in snow white bill bottoms with a stripe down the side, a matching skin tight jersey, no hat on the luscious flowing golden locks, and a pair of aviators on while he stands on his trolling motor and looks over his shoulder. It was a good show, but in the second half of that show, we talked about kind of the trend over the past 10, 15 years of all of the major tournaments, about 90% of the time. And we had some different stuff in 2020, the way that worked out and things, but ending on a northern swing. We see the BPT, we got the pro circuit going on Champlain. We have the NPFL as they reach there. I believe the next to last is penultimate, I think is the word that I'm looking for there. The Bassmaster Opens up on Lake Erie out of Buffalo in a couple weeks. And then the Elite Series wraps up on Champlain and the St. Lawrence River. A standard, like I'm not opposed to certain fisheries like being we'll bring him in because he's actually fishing, and I wonder what and now he's year 3, 24, 25, he's almost 3 years into it. So he's no longer a rookie. That is the one and only Robert G. Thanks for jumping on BTL. I know you've been on BTL before, but you've never done like a BTL show.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Excited. This is awesome.
Are you what are your thoughts on like some fisheries that are like on the schedule like 80% of the time? Like, do you like having a couple wild cards, but then having some staples that every year, 2-3 years in a row, year off, but then they go back there? St. Lawrence River since 2013 on the Elite Series has been a pretty stable stop on the tour. You're cool with that now in your 3rd year? Or
Yeah.
Do you wish that it would be like, hey, let's go to some place we've never been?
I'm cool with it. I've fished a lot of tournaments now up here at St. Lawrence, but once you get up here, you quickly realize like this is like bass fishermen's Disney World, So I don't mind it too bad coming here. But I do like going to the new tournaments, honestly, the best. Like going to new bodies of water and just being able to run around the lake like you've never seen it before is truly one of my favorite feelings. So I do like that. Probably the best.
As a younger angler on the Elite Series, is it hard coming into established fisheries like a I mean, it doesn't have to be anywhere, but like an Okeechobee, a St. John's River, a Toledo Bend, St. Lawrence River, for your first or second time, knowing that you're up against guys who have been here 9, 10, 11 times before over the course of their career, have seen those conditions, know where they could run, have rock piles and things like, was that intimidating at all as a guy knowing, hey, I got way less experience, tournament experience than a quarter of this field?
Yeah, for sure. Like I think about that all the time. And last year I got fished the EQs and I got to room with Mark Menendez, who's been around and been doing it for years upon years. And just going to Okeechobee in the EQ at the end of the year and like him telling me all these stories about how he caught them in 1992 on this patch of reeds on the North Shore. Like I was just like, wow, like holy crap. Like this guy that has fished about all everywhere. Like, like me going to Okeechobee, I've only been there once or twice on like a place like that. Like some of these big bodies of water, it is intimidating. Like these guys have fished 25 tournaments on this place and I've never seen it before. So it's like, But I will say, I feel like with electronics now and putting time in, it's kind of helps break down bodies of water for that time of the year and when you're there, and it could create a little bit more level of a playing field for that. I
Yeah.
feel like.
I think a lot of people realize that for the longest time, it was like a 2-week off limits period for the Bassmaster Elite Series. And, guys could get information, could do kind of whatever they want. Now there's a strict no pay or barter, but you can still within, outside of that 30-day off limits area. Like if you've got a buddy on Shawnee Twin Lakes and you guys are going to Shawnee Twin, you can call up Austin Cranford and say, hey, I got an Elite Series on Shawnee Twin. What anything I need to know about that lake? And he could say XYZ. But that has been kind of a hot topic over the last couple of years. It went from absolutely no information to where you could still go jump on the lake, fish the lake up until the 30 days, but couldn't get any non-public information. Where 3/4 of the way through the Elite Series season this year, where they've gone back to the 30-day, which is traditionally what it was. Do you think that has helped level the playing field? Also, do you think that there's a lot of younger guys who have been able to dial it in more with that, or has that really kind of been a non-factor and guys like me and stuff are the ones who really make a bigger deal out of it than it actually is?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I feel like it helps a little bit, not as much as, people would think. I like that reason because last year, the Classic was on my home lake. So I literally couldn't talk to any of my buddies the entire year of 2025 about fishing at home. You know what I mean?
That's just suck. That's like I always feel bad for Jason Christie when they announce a Grand Lake Classic, because now Jason has to be like a deer like the opening morning of hunting season anytime he's around anglers because he's like, dude, nothing grand. Don't say grand.
It was freaking awful, man. It was just like you got to stay like isolated enough to just not put yourself in that position. So I am thankful they changed that rule just for that, the isolation factor of like not being able to really talk what you love to talk about with your buddies. But I think it could help. Some guys have a big network and they probably, but I feel like in today's time in fishing, the sport's evolving. Used to, the guys that got the best info were pretty dominant. But nowadays, I feel like information doesn't help you as much as it used to, just because everybody's getting so much better. And it's just freaking, you got to be so in tune with the fish that week. And just, it's kind of like a 3-point shooter. Just the guy who's got the hot hands going to win that week, honestly, is what it seems like to me fishing the elites now for 3 years. It's like whoever wins that week is going to have caught them better than anyone could have caught them on that lake that week. So you just got to have the hot hand and keep it rolling.
You talk about catching them better. I mean, you have 5 top 5 finishes on the Elite Series in 2.5 years and 3 second place finishes. I was kind
Yeah.
of doing some stats getting ready for this, and I didn't realize 3 second place finishes already, dude. You got to be hungry.
Yeah, man. Ah, and like every single, it wasn't like I got blown out and finished second. Like I won the second place tournament. Like it was like I was right there on all
Mhm.
3 of them. And it's just like the last one, you know, you always think about the last one. And the last one was at Okeechobee in that EQ I was talking about with Menendez.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the one because I finished 2 spots out of the Classic during the regular season last year. And I needed to win an EQ to make the Classic in my home lake. And man, I lost a key fish, like a 4 or 5 pounder on the first day that would have sealed the deal. And, you know, I think about that fish a lot, but
Still, even now, like even though you're through that year and things like that, you think about that.
and I feel like I have 4 second places because at Champlain 2 years ago, I finished third. And you can fact check me on this, but I'm pretty sure I lost by 4 ounces. And I finished third.
You actually lost by 3 ounces.
3 ounces?
Because Ed had 80 pounds, 12 ounces, and you had 80 pounds, 9 ounces. So 3 more ounces, and you'd have been in the fish off with the barrister. Isn't that what they call
I
it?
know. Like that was the one tournament that like I felt like I was so dialed, and that I don't know how it didn't happen. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That one, the one that stings the most, probably. Because
Yeah, the
I
only
got
one that wasn't within like less than 2 pounds was when Taku went absolutely nuclear on Smith,
yeah,
and that was still only like 4 pounds.
yep. He just caught a 6-pound spot in June, like late June on Smith. Like you can't beat that, you know.
Was that the tournament that he caught that big? Was that on an urchin?
That was on a freaking koiki, man.
And he hit it because when we had Sid from Spro, they're the only distributors for Hide Up. So everything from Hide Up that comes to the country goes through Spro and then their distributors. And I pull that video up, and that dude hid. Was it a 17 mil or the full cast?
I think it was a 17 millimeter.
That's what I say, but he hid that thing in that fish so well that I had to like stop it on one screen to where you could see the little urchin tentacles in that fish's throat. Never said a thing about it, and then like hit it better than anybody.
Yep, for sure. Like he was being so sneaky with it. I mean, that was back before anybody knew what to do with that thing, except for, you know, the Japanese anglers.
Yeah.
And if I would have known about that thing back then, it would have been awesome.
You mentioned putting in the work. The reason that we're going live at 7 a.m. Central, which is 7 a.m. Central, which is 8 a.m. Eastern, where you are, is you are up in New York putting in the time on the St. Lawrence River, a place where you finished second in 2024 to like you were sandwiched between Corey Johnson, who had 102 pounds. You had 100 pounds, 7 ounces. Then Trey McKinney had 98.9 and Chris had 96.2. Like, you were sandwiched between some guys that know how to catch some damn bass.
Oh, yeah.
And even though you had that, you're in the Century Belt. What made you say, hey, I need to go back up there and put in more time on that, even though, I mean, you were pretty freaking dialed in 24.
Yeah, I mean, on paper, it looks like it was the best tournament I've probably ever had, and hopefully it's not ever will have, but as of right now, it's the best I've ever had. But to be honest with you, the reason why it was so good is at Champlain, the week before, it was a back-to-back.
Yep.
And we only got like a day and a half of practice for that tournament. And I say day and a half because I fished day 4 at Champlain and was wore out and didn't wake up till later in the day. So missed like that first morning bite, you know. So I didn't really find much. And then day 2, it was blowing crazy on the lake. And I've never been able to fish out there on Ontario because all of my other tournaments at St. Lawrence had been restricted to the river only. So I didn't really find much, and didn't have the experience of like boulders or rock piles or anything out there in the lake from years past, like we were talking about earlier, having multiple tournaments on Lake Ontario under my belt. So, man, I found one good area and I was just committed to it from the start of the tournament. And that's what basically rode me to the Century Belt that week.
Oh,
Like,
boy,
and I was talking about it yesterday with one of my buddies. Like, it's crazy looking back. Is I caught 100 pounds and didn't catch 1 6-pound smallmouth.
really?
Yep,
They were all just
all
mid to
fives.
heavy fives.
Yep.
You
Like the
you knew
biggest one I
going into
caught.
that you were gonna have a good week though, right?
I did not.
Really?
I did not at all. Because in practice on that spot, I only caught one. I only caught one and I fished it for like 2 hours in practice. And I was like, man, if I could just get 5 of these to bite, I would have a really good day. And if I could get 10 of them to bite, I would definitely make the cut. And then, you know what I mean? I was thinking about it like that. And dude, I drove down there to that place on day one and didn't catch a fish, like lost one for the first 2 hours. And then I just hit a magic window in 30 minutes. I caught like 25 or 26 pounds like that. And I just drove straight back to the weigh-in after I caught my 5th one. You know what I mean? And I was like, well, I know what I'm doing the rest of the week. And day 2, I had a lot of fun.
Yeah. When you think back on that Champlain or the Northern Swing is what I'll call it, that third place and that second place, that was your rookie year on the
Yep.
Bassmaster Elite Series. There's specific tournaments, like I think it's hard to do well in the front end of a back-to-back because like you're cool for a day or two and then you're not the hot hand anymore unless you back it up with another tournament. So like you have your live and then I always feel bad for the guys who get like their first win in the front end of a back-to-back.
Me too.
But you were coming out of a crazy 2023 opens class.
Oh yeah.
Where it's like hard to kind of get your personality and get going because you got guys that are just ripping off top 10s like it's going out of style.
For sure.
What, and you had that earlier, you've had the 4th and the 2nd going into that, but kind of looking back on it now as you're closing out your 3rd year on the Elite Series, what did those back-to-back weeks, the 3rd place on Champlain, the 2nd place on the St. Lawrence River, the camera time, the interviews where they got the personality, the pat, you landed it,
The
joking
belly
with the
pat.
guys in the studio, that whole thing.
Yeah.
What looking back on it, even though you didn't get the blue trophy, did that do for your career?
It did a lot, and the 2nd place on Smith was the tournament right before Champlain. So it just was just unbelievable timing. I felt like going into the year, nobody knew who I was. Like I was like the one guy probably that people didn't really know who I was because I had Ben Milliken, Trey McKinney, John Garrett, Tyler Williams, JT, freaking Logan Parks, like all those guys, and like Wesley Gore and Kyle Patrick, and they won opens too. Like I was like the one guy. They were like, "Who the heck is this guy?" You know what I mean?
Yeah. It was JT Tompkins, John Garrett, Trey McKinney, Robert G, Kenta Kimura, Tyler Williams, Wesley Gore, Logan Parks, Ben Milliken, and Kyle Patrick.
Yeah. I'm gonna say this now. That's probably like the rookies now. Every year they keep getting better, but that's a pretty stacked class. You got to admit.
Anyway, go back to your story. I just want to get that
But
list.
yeah. So 2nd, 3rd, then 2nd. I was on live. I guess that's what 12 days. I guess 10 of the 12 or 9 of the 12 because I guess I didn't have it on the first day of any of those tournaments, but for days 2, 3, and 4 on all of them I had a camera. So I don't know, I just felt like I was talking about earlier, like a 3-point shooter in basketball or something like that. Like I just felt hot, you know what I mean? Like the ball was rolling, and I was feeling good on camera. As you can tell at that last tournament, I felt like I was getting out of my comfort zone a little bit on camera, and hitting the Heisman, or whatnot, doing belly pats, and I don't know. It was just a really big confidence booster in my career that really just solidified. Hey, I can compete. Like I
Mhm.
might not be the best guy out here, but I can compete.
You'd
And
had a little bit of camera time before that, but
yeah,
walk me through, like, what is it like when you've got that camera, you've got so many days, and then you're learning about like Such and you got Zona, Sanders, and Ronnie and things like that. Because I think one of the things was you took advantage of that opportunity by kind of showing your personality then and stuff. Like when you're on that many days, how does Bassmaster work it with a young rookie? You've got Angler of the Year guys, you've got the young phenoms and all that. What is that like behind the scenes when that camera's in your boat, you're in the mix, and what is the interaction between like the studio and those guys and you at the time? Do they give you a blueprint, or do they just say, have at it?
yeah. So basically, luckily that year, my first tournament, I got 3 camera at Toledo Bend. It was my
Yep.
first ever tournament on the elites, and I had zero clue. Like when they hooked that camera up to me at that tournament, I was like, I have no idea what I'm doing, like on camera yet. Like
Never been
I
on
had
camera
no,
before, like in a major
I had
tournament.
camera in the opens
Yeah.
one time, but I was just like, and in college I had, but it's not live in college.
Mm-hmm.
So live camera is just like, hope I don't mess up. I hope I don't cuss. I hope I don't say the wrong thing. And like they kind of just strapped me in and was just like, be yourself, man. And that was the blueprint they gave me. And so then after like the first day, they were like, okay, you did great being yourself, but maybe teach us something a little bit. And that's something I'll never forget. Andy Crawford, one of the shout out to Andy, he's one of the
Legend.
photographers for Bassmaster. He was like, yeah, man, just keep being yourself. That's awesome. And don't be afraid to teach. People are watching not only to see y'all catch big fish, but they're also watching to learn something. And I'll never forget that. Like, um, so whenever the cameraman tells you you're live, I always try to think to myself like, this is a teaching. This is a time for me to, you know, just talk, like just be one on one with the fans, like I'm, um, on a fishing trip with them. Trying to teach them
Yeah.
what I'm, or walk them through what I'm doing, and try to let them learn if they're 1,000 miles away, like what I'm doing on this body of water. And I'll never forget that. So I took that, and basically that's kind of the blueprint I keep trying to go by, you know?
When did you uh when did you realize that you had like fans that you had connected with? Because that's like one of the hardest things to do too, is to build a fan base. When did you realize, oh my God, like people know who I am when I come up and they want to talk about the Pat, they want to talk about the St. Lawrence River, and they want to talk about Smith, and they want to talk about Okeechobee, and like they watch me, and like I'm not just Robert G, this rookie who's trying to survive, but like people want to like hang out with me, buy me a beer, and offer me a 6 mils in.
Yeah. Um, Honestly, after my rookie year, I would just see someone, and they would either say, like they would pat their belly, like belly pat, or they would come up to me, and they would talk about the crap on the St. Lawrence River. That's
Mm-hmm.
that's been a lot of just like the fan interactions over the past couple years. They were like, "Man, we were rooting for you at the St. Lawrence." Like that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's been awesome.
Did
And
that end
then
up turning into a big positive, like from the fan and support wise
yeah,
and
like
stuff like that?
for sure. And Zona in that tournament called me that little Ewok, and Corey went along with it. So I started. That's my logo right there.
I know I need
Had
one
it.
of those hats in the studio. I've
Yeah,
got
I'm gonna
everybody's
have to
hats
get you
all
one.
around here, but I do not have a Robert G hat.
Yeah, so I have my own branded logo now from that tournament. Like they little Ewok Robert G. So
Are those available now? I know last time when I saw you, you
yeah,
were like, "Hey, we're sold out."
yeah, so like I said, I'm still just like pinching myself. I don't know. To me, I don't feel like I have that many fans, but every time I get enough, like I don't go out here and buy 500 hats and 500 t-shirts expecting to sell them all like probably Matt Robertson does. So I buy what I think would probably be sold by friends and family,
With
and
your own money.
yeah, with my own money. And they've sold out every time, and I think I've gotten like 3 lots of them. And like at the Classic this year in Knoxville, I had, I don't know, pretty good amount of them, and they all sold out by the third day, like the morning of the third day. So that was pretty awesome. And that's another time I was like, wow, this is sick. People are on board with me and they like watching me.
But you can't get them right now. Like you're out of the lot right now. Like they're you have to get them second market eBay right now.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. I'm doing it like a swim bait drop. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, yeah. Like Clutch does or like KGB
Yeah,
does, where it'd be
for
like, I'm going to
sure.
drop them at 3 a.m. for the third shift workers, and when
Yeah.
they're gone. Limit 2.
But the good thing is I talked to a apparel company at ICAST, and
Oh,
hopefully I will be getting some made here shortly.
like to where they'll be available then.
Yeah.
You mentioned that rivalry. Do you think rivalries are good? Like, I mean, you're a big college football fan. There ain't nothing like it. I mean, I think OU's in the SEC now. I mean, we beat some teams. I believe we may have beaten Tennessee at Neyland in a blackout game last year.
Yeah. You
But
did.
one of the things that makes you tune in is the rivalries, whether
Yep.
it's, whether it's a historic rivalry or whether it's, like I'm pretty sure if there's a like the Kiffin games and stuff like that now in fishing, it's wild. I actually just came across, rest in peace, Harold Allen. But when they were going through the archives, there was an article from 2002 or 2004 about a beef between Harold Allen and another angler. And there's like
Yeah.
Louis Stout wrote it. There's like direct quotes in them, and Harold's like taking shots, and the other anglers taking shots at him. And it's like, you turn on ESPN, it's all about rivalries and things. At the time, did that situation like stress you out as you were trying to get your first Elite Series win? And then have you thought about it differently in hindsight, perhaps actually boosting the G brand as a whole?
Yeah. Yeah. Like, no, it stressed me out a ton because I was like, what the heck am I doing here? Like, it was honestly.
Oh, I think G just got a call. G definitely got a call. I forgot to tell him to put it into standby mode. That's on me. We're due for a break anyway. We're 30 minutes in.
I don't know what just happened.
Did you get a call or a text?
No.
Oh, okay. You're back.
Okay. My bad.
No.
But
It's all good.
what did you
Continue
hear?
on that.
What did you
I was saying,
what
when I was talking about the situation at the St. Lawrence, you had the Johnson brothers, who are brothers, both of whom played hockey.
Yeah.
Both of whom like dominate that river. Who, I mean, you think of the Johnsons, you think of that, you think of the spot, you talk about the Corey trash talk beforehand, the gamesmanship, what's going on that whole thing. Like, looking back on that, just talk about the.
Oh yeah, dude, it stressed me out for sure. I was like, I didn't sign up to be in this position right now. You know what I mean? Like, what the heck? I'm not trying to be in the middle of this beef. I'm just trying to win a tournament. But looking back now, I see it from like a viewer's perspective because I loved watching that growing up. like for example, like the Randall Tharp, Matt Herron,
Oh,
and
gold.
Ike
You
and
see that?
Nelly, and
That just happened. It's in the box.
it's in the box, and just like the Kevin Van Dam and Ike and Nelly
You're
at
not part of the
Chickamauga.
community, bud.
Yeah, exactly. Like and people love that. And for me, I felt like people when people were watching that, they were like, "This is like what? This is like a real life Bible story. Like this is David versus Goliath.
Yeah.
This is David versus Goliath." And
Yeah.
unfortunately for me, there was two Goliaths, and you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I might have knocked one out, but it, David only had to knock one giant out, and I think that's what got me. But I think that's what people really enjoyed, and honestly, it's fine with me.
Have you gone back on that? Like, yeah, I mean, you have to see the same. I mean, like, you have to see the same guys. Everyone's trying to make a living out there. Like, just think about your like club or your Thursday night or something. There's always some guy there where like you're like, okay, we gotta beat this guy tonight. Like, I do not want to come in, and the worst feeling is when they get you by like an ounce.
Yeah, for sure.
Have you talked about that? Are you cool with those guys now, or is it?
Yeah,
it like,
we're cool.
Yeah,
we're cool. Like, I don't.
You like the rivalry part? Like I said, you're a sports guy. Like, I mean, I think that's part of it. I think that's part of it on the water too.
Yeah, true.
Like, it's a competitive sport where you're trying to beat people. Like, I mean, I'm a hockey guy, and you're like, oh, that guy and that guy don't get along on the water. They could be the greatest people off the water on earth.
Yeah, for sure. And I don't know. To me, I don't know. I don't really want to make it a rivalry just because it feels like Vanderbilt playing Alabama or something. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. But I mean, every once in a while, Vanderbilt gets a Diego.
Gets
a Diego exactly. back there behind, and he's got the gold chain on, and he's saying, it's the 3rd and 1. I'm going to go to the end zone.
For sure.
What'd you learn about yourself then? Because you seem like a really laid back guy, like that. Nothing really gets you. What'd you learn about yourself from a competition, from a professional angler where it's like, this is my life now? Did you learn anything about yourself?
Yeah, I learned, just how to control your emotions, because, I had a lot of emotions going on and had a live camera in my boat, and I wanted to crash out, but had to keep it together, and just try to win a bass tournament. You know what I'm saying? And I felt like I might could have handled it different. Like I struggled with it for a while, just going back and forth. Like, could I have handled this differently? But I don't know. I feel like I handled it pretty good.
Yeah, definitely. Like Jeffries used to always, when I first started fishing, when I worked with Mark Jeffries, out of a ZX 190, a 2007 ZX 190, carbureted VMAX Series 2. You had to pump it 3 times, turn it on beforehand. It would start, it would die. Then you had to go back, pump it again, then hold it, then pump the hot foot. And when that thing freaking lit up, smoke everywhere. But then if you looked at it wrong the rest of the day, that sucker would fire. I had over 1,000 hours in it and just ran the hell out of ethanol through it, and it still was working till the final day. But I fished the BFLs in 2013 when you were probably, how old were you in 2013?
14.
Yeah, when you were 14. But like Christie was fishing it, Sean Goodwin was fishing it, those guys that I told Mark, I was like, how do you handle, like, if you're ever in sea? He said, dude, he goes, here's how you do it. He goes, you stand your ground and you do what you think is right. And if it crosses your mind, or if you do something that you have to justify in your mind before you do it, he goes, then you don't do it. But if it never crosses your mind that what you're doing is wrong or not the right thing, ethically or sportsmanship wise, he goes, you cannot talk yourself into it. You need to bite the bullet, trust yourself, and say, I'm not going to do that because it crossed my mind. And if that crossed my mind, there's no justification to it. The very first thought that you have is the right thought.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like that's kind of how I looked at it too. And kind of just proud of myself. Like I said, didn't crash out and kind of ran through in my mind like what not to do 1st.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Talk about the sophomore slump. It used to be, you survive your rookie year, then you kind of figure some things out your second year, but that's where a lot of guys realize what they don't know, and then they start doing what they think they're supposed to do, and then basically they become worse anglers. And then if they can figure that out, get back to themselves on the third year, then they're on the Elite Series for 3 years. The sponsors start recognizing, the name recognizes them, and then it's off and running if you can get through those first 3 years. You experienced a little bit of that sophomore slump, and it seems like you're back to a couple bad tournaments this year, but I mean 32nd, 20th, 4th, 7th, that type of stuff this year. You've had good tournaments. Is the sophomore slump a real thing that second year?
I think so. Yeah, I would say so. Just because, especially having such a good year. And like also the part of my sophomore slump, like we talked about earlier, is I knew I had to do well to make the Classic on my home lake.
That put pressure on you. Like that was what you were thinking of from the first cast of the year.
First cast of the year. Yep.
Hmm.
So I didn't even think about the sophomore slump. I just kind of thought the whole year about making the Classic. You know what I mean? And like on a regular year, like my rookie year and then this year, I'm not that kind of guy. Like I'm not the guy that does the numbers. Like I need this many, I need to finish this spot to blah, 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 blah. You know what I mean? I'm just a guy that goes to each tournament and tries to do his best. And then if you do well enough throughout the year, you're going to make the Classic. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I did in the Opens. Like I never did math. I didn't like in the Opens. You can ask my travel partner that year, Ty Lubat. Shout out to Ty. I would not even look at the like the angler of the year list on Bassmaster.com. Like for probably until like after the Lake of the Ozarks that year, I guess we had 1 or 2 tournaments left. I didn't really even look at it. I would just have him look at it and update me. Like I looked at it maybe like after the third tournament. I was like, okay, I'm still in the hunt, you know? And after that, I was like, I don't want to psych myself out by knowing where I'm at. And that's kind of how I've always wanted to do that until last year. And that's when I started watching the leaderboard on the Angler of the Year chart. And I just don't feel like that's the right way to go about it for me.
Did you plan on making the Elite Series in your first year? You had a long college career. We've done a lot of shows about how college prepares the guys for it. But I mean, you fished you fished a lot of the college series up until 22, and then 23. Bam, you made it. So here you are.
Oh yeah,
a year after.
I did not expect it. I can guarantee you that. Like, I just wanted to give it a try. You know what? Like. That's kind of how it was. Like, I have the opportunity and I feel like I'm fishing good. And I feel like I just want to do this so I can kind of prove it to myself. Like, if I finish top 25, I'll be happy. You know what I mean? It's kind of how I went into the season. Because, dude, I didn't have any sponsors other than McKee Outdoors and Enduro Power Batteries, which shout out to those guys. Like, that was it. I paid for half of my Opens entry fees off Tuesday Nighter jackpot winnings.
Really?
And yeah, like I was not just like a pro that's fishing the Opens that has a tricked out garage and a boat deal or any sort of that. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. I had the boat I was using in college and it was and like it was me and my dad's boat that we just went fishing, you know what I mean? And I fished in college with. So
like when you started out and cashed in 4 of your first 5 Opens that year, you literally used that money to get through the second half of the year.
Or no, I used money I was winning at like weeknight tournaments.
Yeah. to get
You
into
know?
the opens. But then, I mean,
Yeah.
heck, you cashed at Eufaula, you cash at Bugs, you cashed at Wheeler, you cashed in Oklahoma, and that was 20,000 in. So then you paid that money to get the deposits in, and then that money to get to the next one and the next one. Were you working at the time too, or
No. I was like, I'm going all in.
really?
I went like this. I was at the poker table and just went like this. I'm gonna fish every day. And the only job I had outside of fishing the opens was I fished Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday nights, and sometimes Saturdays when there was a tournament. You know what I mean? Like,
So Monday night jackpot, Tuesday night jackpot, or just Monday fun fish, Tuesday jackpot, or were you jumping in all
no,
the jackpots around?
these were all tournaments.
Oh my gosh, you were fishing 5 to 6 tournaments a week for a year?
Like 5. Yeah.
Oh, that
And dude, my fishing partner back then still does it. And dude, I'm envious of him because he don't have to travel and burn gas, and he wins money every night. You know what I mean? It's hilarious.
what's a Tuesday nighter pay? Because like the one I fished down the road, like I mean, if you get first in big bass, you may hit $300, and then you split it with your buddy, and then after the cold ones and the ice and the Snickers bar, you're clearing like $80.
No, it pays pretty good in Tennessee just because like some nights there's 55 boats that show up.
Oh, damn.
60 boats.
Wow.
I mean, it's not great, but it's
No, that's
I mean,
strong. That's $1,000.
$1,000 split 2 ways. $500,
Mhm.
and can't beat that. Like if you win that a couple times, like, and I was fortunate enough to like I said, I was on the water every day to where I felt like I was pretty much at least getting a check at
What's your
every.
longest winning streak in a Tuesday nighter? Like how many weeks in a row did you show up and win? Because I've heard of like Christy has some insane streaks at like 10 killer and stuff.
Yeah, so me and my buddy Corey Brooks that year, we fished the Monday nighters together, and then my buddy Jacob Woods, we would fish the Tuesday nighters. But the Tuesday nighters were the ones that like you wanted to win, and they were harder to win, and they paid more. But we would pretty much fish the Monday nighter, and because it was way less boats, just because we felt like we were going to win every time, and we won every one. We won every one of the Monday nighters we fished that year.
How many
much.
is that?
I don't know.
Are we talking
Probably
like 4 or
11
we
or
talking
12.
damn?
But I mean, it was only like 15, 20 boats.
I know, but that's still a hell of a streak.
Yeah, we were just on one. It was fun. It was just we were dialed.
Interesting. What was
And
your
dude-
first? Go ahead.
Like I said, my fishing partner Jacob Woods. Back, if you look on Facebook and look at any weeknighter on Fort Loudon and Tellico, he wins about every week. Still, it's hilarious. They're about to ban him.
What was your well, Cranford's dealing with that in Oklahoma now. I said, dude, you gotta quit putting videos of you out just drilling everybody by 18 pounds.
I know.
What was your first like paying sponsor, cash sponsor, where you're like, oh my God, it's happening?
That year it was Enduro Power.
Okay.
And we didn't kind of get it finalized till probably like the third tournament. So I started the year and I didn't have a jersey or nothing. And didn't have a boat wrap. But then, Enduro Power got me. And McKee Outdoors. Those were my 2 sponsors. But it wasn't like I had them lined up and everything was ready to go at the first tournament at Eufaula. You know what I mean? It was like maybe by like, I don't know, I forgot what the third tournament, like after Toledo or after Bugs Island or something. It was like, all right, I'm kind of a semi-pro now,
Yeah. Bugs Island was a cool tournament. Remember that
Yeah, it
water
was.
came up on that and it was like really easy in practice, and then it flooded up into the bushes and like 4-pounders were gold there. And
For sure.
I
And
love
feel-
Bugs Island.
That was like one of those tournaments I will never forget just because it was like a learning moment. Um, Everybody really kind of knows about it now is with the fry garters with live scope. That is where I first like witnessed it. You know what I mean? And I was like, whoa, this is insane. This is crazy.
Exactly the same with me. You roll up and I like the first 4 stumps that I caught him off of, I was trying to figure out, you try to get patterns within patterns.
Yeah.
You obviously do it better than the majority of people, including me. But I literally remember sitting down in the boat on that first day of practice and going, why am I catching a fish off of every hazy stump and not off of every crystal clear stump?
That's exactly my
and I'm
thoughts
sitting there
as well.
and I'm like, what is it? I could not figure it out. And then I was rooming with Upshaw and he was like, that's fry, bro. And I was like, oh, that makes a whole lot more sense.
Yeah, that's the same thing, dude. The first day of the tournament or first day of practice, I called my roommate and I was like, dude, I don't know if I'm onto something or if I'm just like tripping out or wigging out or something and just seeing things. But there must be some sort of algae bloom on some of these stumps. And like there's always a bass on them. You know what I mean? I've thrown it every single one I've thrown at, I've caught one. They aren't sometimes they're nice, decent ones, sometimes they're tiny ones, but and then we kind of like put it together like, dude, these are fry guard. That's fry. Like, holy crap. That's wild. But
Did
yeah,
you end
no,
up
dude,
catching him off
at
that in the
first,
tournament? Because I couldn't catch him in the tournament because the water came up and then it got kind of super windy and stuff. And I ended up having to catch him on a freaking 3/4 ounce spinner bait out of the trees.
yeah, dude, I rode that program because I like, dude, it was literally like first point I pulled up to. There was 3 or 4 fry garters on that point on stumps, and I was like, huh, the old algae bloom stumps have bass on them. Let me go look around and mark some more of these. And then that day we were just talking on the phone and we're like, I guess it's fry. Like, holy crap, it's fry. So dude, I just went on a freaking and we had 5 days back then to practice.
Yeah. Oh,
I went on a tirade of freaking finding stumps and finding like marking fish, and like it was like a bedfish tournament for me. Truly.
I'll give up some juice on that. So that lake had been super low like 2 years before that, 3 years before that. You could literally get on Google Earth and mark every single stump that was currently in 7 to 10 feet of water. I had like 300 waypoints of just stumps, and there would just be a dark spot on the Google Earth. Then you'd mark it, then you'd move it over to the unit. So I like slept like an hour a night in that tournament and was just going down the bank meticulously in historical image of Google Earth, just dropping it on every single dark spot. But like I said, didn't pay off. I ended up just going down the damn bank on a shad spawn, caught him on a big spinner bait.
Yeah. And like I said, that tournament too, I scanned for like 4 full days finding, and like I didn't really, a lot of the fish I caught though and weighed in weren't fish I had marked like ready for me to, like some of them were obviously, but I just remember a lot of the ones I caught and weighed in were just patches of stumps I marked for me to just go check if I needed to. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mentioned the sponsor thing because you have you've got like a very unique, it's a red circle logo.
Yeah. Dude, that's the coolest story of all time.
It's one of the most badass sponsors ever. And we were talking about, you can get some delicious food there 6 days a week.
Yep.
Chick-fil-A. What's the story behind that?
Dude, so it all goes back to my rookie year again. But this was the tournament with Taku that Taku beat me at Smith Lake. Dude, I was out there on day 3 and I had a really good day on day 3 and was catching them good. And yeah, the Lord's chicken. I was just fishing, dude, and the boats had started coming out, and they were kind of driving me crazy because I was straight hard scoping and looking down and just getting rocked and kind of, you know how it gets like when a lot of boats are circling and you're just kind of frustrated about just keep getting bounced around, you know? And I see a boat and just like idling up to me. I don't know if they even know this, but I was like thinking to myself, like, oh my gosh, dude, you're about to freaking run me over. Like, what are you doing? You know what I mean? About to throw my hands up at them. And I'm so glad I didn't. I was just like, hey, what's going on? And they were like, hey, you want you want a chicken sandwich? And I was like, heck yeah, I want a chicken sandwich. And this is on live. Like, this is on live. The camera's recording. And he's like, I got one for your cameraman too. So the guy, you know, there's like catering like boxes that are like heated or whatever, whips out one of those, tosses this chicken sandwich, and I'm just like, oh my gosh. And dude, my stomach was growling for like the last 2 hours. It was like 1 o'clock. And I was like, dude, this is unbelievable. And I turned around and like the camera guy was like, this is awesome. And I didn't even know we were live. So I was just like talking to the cameraman. I'm like, this is the greatest day of my life. I'm fishing in a bass tournament and just got hand delivered Chick-fil-A. Like I told the guys, thank you and everything.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, those guys owned they owned 2 stores in Coleman, Alabama.
No, get
And
out of here.
yeah, and when I was on live, you know, eating my sandwich, I was just like, Chick-fil-A, if you're watching this, please sponsor me. You know what I mean? And that's how it became. Those guys that gave me the sandwich on the water that day at Smith Lake.
So they slide into your DMs?
Yeah. We on Facebook Messenger. And I'm not the guy to check Facebook Messenger. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
Like
haven't
I have
checked
it
it in
linked up to
months.
my Instagram, and I don't even ever get on it hardly. But it's from that tournament right there, and I for some reason, I guess it was a God thing. I looked at Facebook Messenger and it was him. Like, hey, here's my number. Give us a call whenever you see this. So I did, and we became good buddies. And this past year at the Classic, they drove all the way from Coleman, and we did like a little giveaway where it's called Sandwiches and Cincos in the GSM booth, and it was with the Coleman Chick-fil-A. So we gave out a lot of chicken sandwiches at the Classic and Cincos. So it was cool, and now they've been my sponsor for 2 years. It's freaking awesome.
That's one of the best stories. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, I want to cover a couple more things. And then, like I said, you're at the St. Lawrence River practicing for the final stop of the Elite Series. Do you know where you are? Like, you know where you are in the Angler of the Year? I know you said you don't like look. Have you?
I'm in the
you
30s. But
yeah.
Also, I just wanted to shout out Randy Ernest. That's the guy.
Okay.
Chick-fil-A. He's awesome.
Randy Ernest.
Yeah.
Smith Lake.
Don't be sliding in his DMs, but thank you.
No.
Shout out to him.
No. It's interesting when you hear stories of unique sponsorships and how they come about. It's never, hey, I just mass sent out a portfolio. Sometimes it is on that, but like those type of relationships are always right place, right time, being a good dude, chatting with people, not expecting anything of it. Like there's so many of those stories out there like that where you're like, I didn't even know who this Marshall was, and at the end of the year you find out like, oh, this guy owns like the largest oil and gas company in the United States, and you were like chill with them all day, didn't have any idea, and it goes to it. Like I think like good things like that happen to good people for doing the right things and just treating people like human beings on it with no ulterior motives.
Yep. And like I said at the beginning of that story, I'm glad I didn't like throw my hands up or something, you know. It was awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Jeff
shout
Russo
out.
actually
Yeah.
was at the Classic. He said, I got one of them sandwiches at the Classic. I was hungry as a hostage when I walked up on the GSM booth
Heck yeah.
at that time too. So do you do like Chick-fil-A stops like throughout the year, like as you go or anything, or is it just kind of localized to like those couple franchises in
Yeah,
there?
it's
Or do you stop?
just in
Okay.
Coleman, Alabama. So we're actually, I don't know if I'm supposed to say this, but there's going to be a Chick-fil-A Coleman. They do a tournament every year, a Coleman
sweet.
a Chick-fil-A tournament on Smith Lake, and they're going to have an even bigger one this year. So be on the lookout for that for sure.
Was there any benefit to missing the Classic by one spot, but then being available at that Classic Expo with all the Visit Knoxville stuff? I mean, that's like your rap and coordination with them. Did that actually, not a blessing in disguise, but did that actually help you think your brand there, being able to be in front of all the fans and locals there, even though you would much rather not have been?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that week was awesome. I got to do things I probably wouldn't have been able to do being in the Classic. You know, I'd have much rather fished, but the opportunities that I got to be on the dang news, and I got to drop the puck at the local.
I know, I saw that. I was very jealous.
It's the Ice Bears. It's like our semi-pro.
Yeah.
I guess they're like AA or something. Hockey
They're
team,
ECHL
the Knoxville
or
Ice Bears.
SPHL. I'm a
Dropped
hockey
the
guy.
puck. Yeah, it was awesome. I didn't know how to drop it, so
Yeah, I noticed
don't pull
that.
up the video of that.
It was a little bit of a roll. You have to. I was a referee. I was actually a hockey referee for 6 years growing up. Like, that's how I paid the bills. That Nightcrawler farm and woodworking business. So I got the old 1978 Ranger that we towed with the minivan back then. But there is an art as a linesman to dropping the puck completely flat to where it goes smack and it doesn't bounce and roll all around there.
Yeah, I think I spiked it like a dang football, like Rob.
If I remember
Gronkowski
correctly,
or
you
something.
may have spiked it a little bit.
And the guys, because it was like on the ice, and two guys were fighting for it, and I just spiked it, and they just didn't even try to go for it. They just looked up at me like, this guy has no clue what he's doing. And I was like, yeah, no. And then I got to do a casting competition with a fan at halftime on that. And I just met a lot of people that week that I would have never met if I would have been fishing, you know? So it was great.
All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, more with Robert G, who we're doing an early BTL. If you're jumping on early, we typically go live at 8:30, but G has PB smallmouth to catch out on the St. Lawrence River. I think all the fish that you were catching and the Johnsons were catching and Trey was catching and everybody was catching the last year, I think they're the same fish. I think they've just gotten wider and fatter and stayed the same length. Like everything, I've pictures from my buddies and all that down there. It seems like freak show city.
Dude, it's unbelievable. I forget about it every time. And then when you get up here and catch one, you're just like, dude, this is the craziest looking bass I've ever caught. Because it's so just round. It's unbelievable. And it's so cool. And their mouths are so small, but their bodies are so fat. It's unbelievable.
What do you think Smith Lake spots would look like if you had the density of gobies and Smith, the density of gobies in the Great Lakes? What do you think a Smith Lake spot would look like?
Oh my gosh. I've seen some pictures of out west, the spotted bass, like that are feeding on like some of those bigger shad, whatever, hitch or whatever.
Yeah, and the salmon kokanee.
And the kokanees. I think they would look something like that, like just freaking 8 pounds, you know, just looks like a light bulb or a softball in their belly.
We'll be back in a minute and a half with Robert G, Elite Series veteran, fighting for the classic spot, heading up in the final 2 stops of the year. It's BTL early on a Wednesday. We'll be back right after this.
The new Puma STS has been redesigned from the ground up. With the angler, design, function, and performance in mind, nothing on this new offering was compromised, and the only thing carried over from the previous version is the name. Based on the Soft Touch series hull that started with the flagship Jaguar, this new model is nimble and performs incredibly well at all speeds with either a 250 or 300 horsepower engine. Featuring a new 96-inch wide-body footprint, this hull measures out at 20 foot 7 inches in length. Industry-leading design coupled with tournament-winning performance. The Puma STS from Basscat. Feel the rush.
Before there were hashtags, there were handshakes and shared stories. They gave us confidence to make our first cast and chase our dreams. They taught us to fish, and in the process, taught us about life. They taught us that success isn't just about reaching the top. It's about lifting others up. The future isn't just about selling tackle. It's about 3 simple words. Let's go fishing. Here's to the original influencers.
When I'm in a tournament, conditions are constantly changing and every second matters. With the Deep Dive app, I can instantly pull up all the current lake conditions all in one spot. So no more looking at weird government websites. In just one quick glance, I have water clarity, water level, wave forecast. It's all right there in the Deep Dive app. Download the Deep Dive app and get all the tools you need to put together an awesome tournament.
All right, welcome back, BTL, on a Wednesday. I was able to locate some of the highlights from that. It was a Bassmaster night. They wore like vests, like in the jerseys and stuff. Had the casting competition. There you are.
yeah.
You got your own jersey. You got that jersey framed?
I don't have it framed yet, but I've got it.
You got to get that thing framed, man.
I know. It was awesome.
Yeah, I was totally going to go to that game, but then it was like 3 days before everything 2 days before everything kind of started. I was still in Oklahoma, but I wanted to get one of those Knoxville ice.
It was hilarious looking at the Bassmaster jersey they had, because it looked like a plaid shirt and like a fly fisherman's khaki vest with a bunch of pockets with lures hanging out of it. It was hilarious.
Speaking of kind of going mainstream and stuff, obviously you see what Randy Moss is doing with the chasing Ted, and he had the Kelsey brothers in the boat and all that stuff. I stayed up a little late last night. I'm gonna take some heat for this, but I was watching Unreal season 3. Are you a WWE guy at all?
Dude, I used to be a big WWE guy growing up, for sure. I don't watch it anymore, but I loved it.
So in the first episode, they kind of feature Braun Breaker, who I believe fishing in the Celebrity Pro-Am. Did he not?
Yeah.
He might. Yeah, I think he
did.
Yeah,
I fished in that. That was another thing that was cool at the Classic I got to do. Got to fish with Lavelle Crawford, the comedian, and meet Randy Moss and all those other guys. It was cool.
But there's like a whole segment in the Unreal, which is like on Netflix, that millions of people watch, of Braun Breaker like ripping down the lake in his boat. He's wearing like AFCO bibs and stuff, fishing, and like a whole segment in the actual like Unreal season 3 behind the scenes stuff of him bass fishing.
Yeah, I love that. I love when, athletes and celebrities are just like, this is where I find my peace, is on the water. Because it's true for so many people.
What are your thoughts on the 50-50 now? It seems to me, I've had a lot of guys on and I talked to them, and behind the scenes and off the record, a lot of guys like the 50-50.
I obviously don't, I miss the good old days where you could run whatever you wanted.
The good old days of 3 years ago.
Yeah. Miss the good old days. But I guess it's fine.
Well,
I will say the one thing I do like about it is like the tournaments, we don't have scope. Nobody has it at all that week. You know what I mean? It's not like we're practicing the whole week with it and then have to fish without it in the tournament, or we're practicing with it the whole week and then only have a certain little time period of getting to use it. So I am thankful for that. Like, I'm glad when we have a no scope tournament, nobody's got it the whole week and everybody's a level playing field. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't have to worry about Trey McKinney scoping while I'm no scoping in the tournament. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. You seem like a guy who stays out. Like, you can easily get bogged down in this industry with what's going on behind the scenes and the politics and the rules and all that. Like I know you, but we're not, I mean, like, we don't like chat on the phone on a weekly basis, but every time I'm around you, there's certain guys, I think that just goes for life in general, not just fishing, but always seem to have kind of a positive outlook on whatever's going on, have a happy countenance, get along with people.
Yeah.
Is that just naturally who you are, or is that, I mean, have you had any of the temptation to get bogged down into the logistics and the politics of the sport? It seems like you're a guy who's just like, you tell me what it is, you tell me where we are, and I'm going to go out and try to catch them. Is that just who you are? Or is that a conscious decision that you've made to be able to focus on fishing and not the off the water aspects of it?
Yeah. I feel like it's just kind of how I am, you know. Just kind of have to accept the rules and just live by them, you know. I don't want to be up here trying to fight, you know, have a campaign about something and start arguments all the time, you know. But you know, I share my opinion, but I don't know. Like I said, I don't want to run for president or nothing, but just start a war.
Let's talk about some fishing stuff. I've always noticed, whether you're throwing hair, whether you're throwing the minnows or something, your hook, your bite to land ratio seems extremely high. It seems like you have it dialed in, and I could be wrong here, but it also looks like you use maybe a little bit longer rod than a lot of the guys. What I'm saying is, like, if you watch you fighting the fish, walking the fish around the boat and things like that, you always seem like you have them under control. Whereas sometimes it's like a damn rodeo watching guys with the spinning rods and wrestling them at the side of the boat and stuff. You're like very calm and calculated on it. Is that, can you walk us through kind of your spinning rod system that seems to be, you know, if something looks at it wrong, it's coming in the boat?
Yeah, so that's something I like. I'm glad you brought it up because I actually take pride. Like, I was a big baseball player.
Okay.
So, you know, I like growing up, I liked the nice bats and a good glove and taking care of my glove and making sure it was like the perfect form and everything, and make sure it was broken in how I want it to look and everything like that. And it kind of transitioned over to fishing whenever I started working with McKee at Matt McKee's store and fishing with G Loomis and Shimano rods at McKee because McKee is a big dealer of them, and man, my trust is just 1000% in my equipment. And I feel like I run honestly the best equipment, rods and reels and line that I can use. So I really take pride in that. You know, I've turned down some, you know, pretty good offers just because I'm so just confident in my equipment. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I like to use, and I feel like it's pretty bulletproof setup, and I feel like I do land more fish because of it.
Walk me through your favorite kind of minnow rod there. It looks like it's a little bit deeper bend than.
Yeah.
So
I actually have several. That's kind of, I have I'm one of those guys that has a different, like, for like a chatterbait and a spinnerbait and a swim bait or something, I'll use like the same generic rod and action. But for a lot of my technique, like different, especially finesse and on the spinning rod side of things, I have very specific models I like for very specific just baits, you know what I mean? And like for a minnow by chance, I have like 3 or 4 different setups for it. And like back in the day when you had like a minnow tournament, you know, I feel like we're really transitioning out of having minnow only tournaments. Kinda is the way it
Because now it's
seems.
urchin only tournaments.
Yeah, now it's urchin only. But like back in the day, I would have like 6 different minnow rods rigged up with different minnows and size heads, and I have rods for all those and like hair. Um, but yeah, so I typically, if it's an eighth or a 3/16th, I like the G Loomis 821 NRX. It's the Ned rig rod, and it's like you were talking about. It's got a lot of bend. It's the 821. It's 610 medium light, and
Okay.
they call it an extra fast. And like when you put it on the ground, you're like, okay, yeah, that is an extra fast. But something about the G Loomis rods, like they bend just so perfectly when you're fighting a fish. Like you wouldn't expect them to bend as much as they do, but I feel like they just bend with every little movement the fish is putting into the rod. Like they're just so sensitive and so forgiving.
Because I'm like looking at that right there, and like a lot of the minnow rods, a lot have really fast tips, but then stiffer backs to drive in. And it seems like that rod has a lot of bend, almost all the way back to
Yeah.
that first eye right there.
Yeah, but it doesn't feel like that. Like that
Doesn't feel
looks,
like a
if
noodle.
That makes sense. Yeah,
Yeah.
like it feels like it's strong all the way up to where you see like it really bending, but I guess it fights fish more like a more noodly, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But so that one, so I back and forth between that 821 and then the drop shot rod. They're both 610, and there's really not. There's just a little bit of difference that if you use them a lot, you can tell the difference a little bit between them two. But those are typically what I use for the lighter minnows, and the 4 to 6 inch is really this heavy, the farthest length I'll go, or like the 3 inchers, and all that. And then I have the rod I caught the Century Belt on at St. Lawrence. That's just a 7-foot medium. It's a 842 Conquest. I was using that at the St. Lawrence, but the NRXs are freaking just the same. It's just whether you want strength versus sensitivity. And that's the model I choose when I'm really going for that 1/4 ounce to 1/2 ounce jig head, or if I'm throwing like a 3/16 7-inch bait. And then, I've got a Magnum minnow rod too, which is the 872 G Loomis NRX. And it's just for, those 7-inch 1/4 ounce or the 8-inch.
Like Lake Fork type stuff.
Yeah, Lake Fork or Chickamauga, like big, huge Pasquotank River minnow, kind of just Magnum minnows. But those are really the 3 or 4 rods like I use typically. And I'm still kind of playing around with them too. And I have other models I use sometimes. But
are you 2,500 or 3,000 spool size?
So yeah, dude, I don't throw any 2,500s. I have one 2,500 I throw for hair.
Okay.
That's the only time I throw a 2,500. But I actually have predominantly 3,000s, and I have 3 or 4 4,000s, and I really enjoy
4,000. Those are big.
I really enjoy them too, because Shimano, like some of the Shimano reels they're very, very light with the technologies they have in them. And dude, pro tip here, guys. If you get you one of the new Vanquish 4000s or like an Xsense 4000 from Shimano, and you got any sort of size fish on the other end, it's like it's different. You know what I mean? Like I was shocked at how much power and control you can have over a fish with a 4,000 size reel. And I mean, obviously it's made for probably more of an inshore look like redfish or something, but just the drag quality and how much you can just kind of winch on one is unbelievable. So that's what I've been using lately. And dude, now the reels are so light that a 4,000, it feels the same on the rod as a 3,000 used to. You know what I mean? So it's not really That's why 4,000s were kind of like, that's too big for bass fishing for a while. But I'm I am transitioning to 4,000s a little bit.
I remember one of the first guys to go with the big spool was Kevin. I remember
Yeah.
specifically, back on like Smith Mountain Lake when he went on the Shaky Head and things like that, and up north, Kevin always had, and this was pre lose, but Kevin always had big spools, big handles, like it seemed to outmatch the rod, but he
Yep.
swore by bigger spools.
And one thing I love about Shimano is on their 4,000s, they make a real model called an MHG, and that M stands for like a medium spool. So it's not as deep of a spool as you think. It's really only like a 25. I don't quote me on the specs on this. It really is only like the size of a line of like a 2,500 or a 3,000 you're putting
What's the
on.
name of it again? I'll look it up.
A 4,000 MHG. That's like the model. So it's just got a shallow spool on it. So it's not like you're having to put 20-pound test on there for 20 minutes to put backing on it, Like
Mhm.
you literally just put a little bit of backing and then like your 150 yards of braid, and that's fills it up. It's awesome.
It's not the
But it's in
twin
the
power
four.
one though, is it?
No, not in the twin power. It's either in the Accents or the Vanquish.
Okay.
Those are the two models I have it in.
So
But
you
it's
have
just got
all of
that
the
shallow
benefits,
spool.
but not the big
You have
spool.
all the
Yeah.
benefits of a 4,000 side reel, but since the spool is, a lot smaller, you don't have to put as much line on, and it's not as heavy.
That's some that's some juice right there.
Yeah, it's like and like I guess when you're on a 4,000, the amount of revolutions when you turn the reel like one full turn is just picking up. I don't know the exact measurement of a line, but man, I like it a lot.
In your opinion, is a spinning rod and reel combo, is it worth the extra $500 to have one or two really dialed in matching high quality combos as
Yes.
opposed to 4 or 5 in that $300 to $500 range? You would rather have two completely properly set up high ends instead of an arsenal of lower ends?
Yeah. Yes, for sure. Or at least just one.
One.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, you're 1,000 in to get a good one.
Yeah.
It's $1,000 because you're talking a
Pretty much.
$500 reel and a $500 rod.
pretty much. But when you come up here to fish Champlain or St. Lawrence or any of these Great Lake places, you'll be thankful you have it. You know what I'm saying? Like the way they fight, it's similar to like a trout, how they're just acting underwater with the constant head shake. So that extra money you spend, at least the reel, like you might not have to get. I mean, I prefer you do. Like I'm going to, just because it's unbelievable, and because of the sensitivity. Like you can feel bites when the line is just laying on the water, kind of sensitivity. But the reel matters. Like I'm not gonna say names or anything, but I've loaned some reels to other Elite Series pros.
Enough said.
Yeah.
Line wise, do you stick with the same braided line for all the applications, same pound test, everything? Or are you one of those guys that mixes it between heavier braid or sinking braid or anything like that? Or are you?
Yeah. So yeah, I actually do. I actually mix it up, and pretty much I like PE line. That's like a JDM way to measure braided line for spinning rods. And basically what PE is, I don't know what that stands for because I'm not that smart. I'm from Tennessee. But it's basically measuring the density of that line. So it's a baseline. Every brand you pick up, if it says PE1, it's going to be the same density as the other brand. So if I have Adidas and Nike PE1, they're going to be the same. You know what I'm saying? Instead of like one company say I have 10 pound and the other's 10 pound and their breaking strength is different. Like these are always going to be the same. So I like PE number 1 and PE 0.8 for really finesse, and PE like 1.2 or 1.5 for when I'm fishing for really big fish. And I choose the regular just PE line when I'm fishing shallower, just normal. It casts great, and it doesn't matter to me that it's, more floaty on the water. And, but if it's going to be a really strong, I don't typically have all my reels rigged with sinking line all the time because it seems to not have the life of a normal,
Really?
just regular PE, non-sinking. It doesn't have the rut. Like I sometimes keep line on for a full year almost, you know what I mean? But like sinking line really doesn't, but it has a little bit more benefit. And the benefit is it falls straight on the water when you cast because it's heavier. It's like, I don't know how I guess grams of weight, but whenever you cast it out there in a heavy wind, it falls straight down on the surface. And whenever you're fishing deep or fishing baits on the bottom, you have a direct contact through the water to your bait, and there's not an arcing bow. And like I know sometimes if you're throwing like a weightless Senko or a weightless fluke in the wind and you throw it out there, this is just a good example. The wind catches it and like carries it over, and then your bait's like working the direction where your wind blew it. You know what I mean? And it's not coming straight back to the bait. Sinking line will help with that because when you throw it out there, it's just going to fall straight and come straight back to the boat. That's when it's like, so like Great Lakes and stuff, when it's really windy, I'll put some sinking line on. And if I'm fishing really deep, say at Smith Lake for minnow fishing for when I'm trying to get it down there in 40 foot, something like that.
It's a system. PE stands for polyethylene.
Yeah.
It is a high strength synthetic fiber used to make braided line.
Yep. And that number system,
and 8 strand.
That number system is the same across the board for every brand. So
okay, so it says the number after the PE, a 0.6, a 0.8, a 1.0, a 2.5, is not the pound test. It is the size class used in Japan to indicate the approximate diameter of the braid.
Yeah.
PE is the braid class size. Pound test is the breaking strength claim, not directly tied to the PE number. And then diameter is the practical thickness you'll see when filling the spool.
It's a lot more thin than traditional braid. So you get better casting distance. Like we were talking before the show, like it cast phenomenally better.
Yeah, we were talking about it.
Braid.
So I had a spool of I'm out of Overwatch because the Overwatch that I have comes at 160 yards, and then you do one like dumb move where you cast around a dock a couple times or something, and you get basically I'm casting out my Overwatch after 3-4 months on the hunt. Now they have 600 yard spools on that, but I'd ask you about that because I knew you were a big line guy, and I was like, hey, I just put this stuff on, and it's the PE. You said eggy. You knew what that?
Yeah, I'm pretty positive that's like a Japanese word for some sort of squid.
Did I just put squid line on my spinning reel?
Yeah. I've had buddies that use squid line.
It's like metered. It's like pink and then green and then yellow and then brown and then pink and then green. But I tied a 1/4 ounce or a 3/8 ounce weight to it and went out in my yard, and I've got 2 acres, and I just have it on that 3,000 size spool and just flicked it, and I cast out my yard, like whatever 2 acres is lengthwise. I was like, oh my God, it It was, you ever seen those videos where like the guy's like, watch this, and he casts, and then they're sitting there, and then they look down and the line's still coming off the spool. Then they wait. That's how it felt. But I have no idea if I'm going to reel into one and it's just going to break.
Yeah.
Because that's a point. I had 0.8. But I'm going to give I'm going to give her a hell of a shot.
That's light. That's light line. So equivalent to normal braid, like traditional American braid, that's like 5 pound braid.
Deep juice.
0.8 is like 5 or 6 pound braid.
That's what it felt like when I tied it on. Because when I tied it to my 10-pound leader, it was like, oh, this is significantly small.
I wouldn't boat flip a 6-pounder on it.
I boat flipped a 4 1/4 at the Mississippi River on spinning rod and braid.
Yeah.
Smallmouth. Yeah, and it didn't make it in the boat the first 3 tries.
At least it didn't break.
What's the biggest minnow fish you've ever boat flipped, fun or in a tournament?
On
a spin pole.
I don't think I've ever boat flipped one over 6, honestly. 5. I've boat flipped some 5-pounders.
Just momentum felt right. You're like,
momentum.
No problem. Yeah.
Yeah, momentum. Like they were coming to jump, and I just carried the jump into the boat type. Mm-hmm. Like it wasn't a straight. Like I wore them out to the side of the boat and then lifted them into the boat. It wasn't one of those, but it was like a momentum boat flip. Yeah.
Are you an FG knot guy then?
Yeah, I'm a FG knot guy. Unless I'm in a big rush and I have 20 minutes to go, then I won't tie it. Then I'll just tie like a double uni.
I'm still on the double uni because I can do it in 20 seconds. David Paris says you're dropping the deep juice. The first MHG only in Japan, and now Sunline 1 PE and current BC. The bow in the line is so much less.
Yep.
If you're getting into this stuff, let's say you still are getting into the minnowing and the spinning rod stuff, because I think you take it for granted, but you're talking with the top guys in the game and everybody's kind of standardizes the stuff.
Yeah.
Is it more important? How important is it to have the whole system, like to start and learn on the system? Or do you add the $40 a spool of line later and the $500 spinning reel later? Or are you going to have a more enjoyable experience if you can to get the highest quality stuff you can right off the bat? Like is cost and quality directly related to learning how to do it?
Yeah. No, I don't.
Okay.
I don't necessarily think so. I would probably, the biggest thing is, I would say first the reel, just like getting a good solid reel with good drag is the best. Is the best way I would say to do it. And then later on down the line, like dude, just go to the store and buy any sort of like 6 or 8 pound braid, and it'll cast almost the same distance. Like just like the 10-pound regular braid is like PE 2.5. You know what I mean? Like it's thick stuff. So I would, and I'm not going to say you're not going to break it, but I'm saying you're going to be able to cast farther, and it's just going to be a little bit, and it's probably going to win knot. What braid doesn't? But it's
Overwatch.
It's just very
Overwatch doesn't win knot.
It's just very it's awesome. I like fishing with it because it's
Have
just
you messed with that? You're with Buckeye still?
Yeah.
Have you messed with that? They've got some weird ass jig heads, Robert G.
Mm-hmm.
Have you messed with those like top jig head things and all this stuff they come out with? Like when it comes to like the piggyback and the what's the one with the freaking bill on it?
Yeah, the riser.
Yeah.
That's not the name, but it's like a riser.
Elevate head is what they call
elevate head. So yeah.
You've messed with that a little bit?
Yeah. It turns the jig head into a riser, so you can have a straight shank hook on a riser style bait. So like when the fish are schooling and that bill is bendable on that jig head, so you can get it any kind of way you want it to shimmy. It's pretty cool. It's a genius idea, because you know how it is on some of those baits that kind of do the same sort of action on schoolers.
Yep.
Dude, they've got tiny little number 10 trebles on them, and dude, if you hook a freaking 4-pounder, like even just like a 3.5, it's scary. Have a 3.5-pounder on a size 10 treble, you know? And
Oh yeah, there's so
got
many
one
horror
treble.
stories from spy bait guys who are like, "Oh, I hooked 28 pounds of smallmouth and jumped off 20 of them."
Literally. And that's riser's the same size and has the same trebles as a spy bait. So it's just the
What about that monstrosity? I've seen that
The
and the
piggyback.
pictures of that
That-
they
yeah,
came
that-
out with,
that helps people to get the bait to roll better.
because it literally screws into the top of your bait,
Yeah, exactly.
but it's not like the end all. You're still messing with that one.
Yeah, I'm still messing with it. I have my system I've been using. You know, it's just a confidence thing.
Yeah.
Um.
Are you willing to give up your jig head of choice? If you just want to keep that under your belt, you're more than welcome.
Yeah.
to, but
I mean,
there's
I
been,
just use a homemade one.
Oh,
I'll
okay.
always, and I'll stick to that one in tournaments, like just because it's my confidence, and I don't want to.
specific hook in there.
It's a good hook.
Anything else? Anything else you want to get? What's your
but-
game plan for today, G?
I'm just gonna go catch some brown ones, man. Hopefully, I don't get blown off the lake. It's blowing over 20 up here, so that's gonna be something.
Strategic launch area.
But I might have something coming down the pipe for jig head wise that might be juice here shortly.
You're doing a little R&D now in your third year. Really? Has that been fun?
Yeah, it's been pretty cool. And I will say, with my R&D on this particular jig head, there has been some language barriers we've had to work through. So, yeah. So that's something's coming.
Said you know how to ask the right questions when they don't answer. Loop or direct tie?
Man, I've for some reason, like, I don't know why, like don't have the best answer for it, but I've always thrown a loop knot, and that is literally because when I first started live scoping, I was crappie fishing with little Bobby Garland minnows and hair, like Juice Jigs hair jigs, and I would throw a loop knot on it every time. So when I started doing it in bass, I was like, dude, I know it makes a difference for crappie fishing if I tie this loop knot. Let me try it and see if it will hold up. And it has. Like, dude.
Clint says he throws the loop knot because of grandpa.
I love the old loop knot.
I would venture to say that you have caught more fish over the last couple years, more strategic fish on the hair. That's something that was like you brought back from like the 70s. I mean, I'll obviously maybe he's the best man in my wedding, Jared Morrison, Juice's Jigs and stuff like that. But was that something that you knew? Did you dabble in custom hair, not the marabou for the smallmouth type stuff, but we're talking 1/8 to 3/8 ounce kind of long tied hair in place of a minnow? Was that something you had done before a couple years ago, or is that something that you
I just came up with it one day because of crappie fishing, literally, because I knew chasing roaming crappie that sometimes they're just in a bad mood and like they're just not in a eating mood, you know? And whenever that happens, we would tie on a little hair jig, you know, and like kind of have a plethora of hair jigs and go through those to see which one and see which right weight size and, you know, that hangs in front of them appropriately.
We're talking stuff like that. You can go to his website. He's busy
So I was-
coaching and working on lawn stuff right now. We just went
Yeah.
crappie fishing the other day. He's got 0 in stock, but is considering another drop.
Yep. So yeah, I've caught several key fish in big tournament finishes, and I mean several second place finishes. Honestly, where I couldn't get them to bite the minnow anymore, and I just knew from doing that type of fishing for a while that the only really bait that I could even get these fish to even look at would be hair. And I guess it's from crappie and trout, kind of a little bit of a background, just having confidence in that kind of a bait, you know?
There's nothing better than a day where you know, like, where the crappie are. Like, you know, you've been out there, you know, you're going to catch them. You get your buddy that comes over early in the morning, and you know it's going to be just a nice day. In the next 3 hours, you guys are just going to go out, bust each other's balls, and catch 50, 12 to 14-inch crappie. Like, that's a good day right there.
For sure. And another big thing a lot of people don't do, because they typically, you know, fly fish in like rivers and streams, is, dude, something about hair and trout. It's unbelievable. It is truly unbelievable.
Yeah, my go-to stalker trout bait back in the day when I was a young kid, they'd stock me in Rock Springs Pond, and it was like the first week of April. You get out there at 5 a.m. is when the season opens. Straight up 60-cent white 1/8 ounce marabou hair that you buy in the little cards straight from the Walmart shelf. 6-pound test, just cast it out and straight reel it in, and every stalker in the pond just do it. They're obsessed with it.
Obsessed with hair. That's some juice.
One more piece. Dougie Fresh has asked us numerous times. He ties a loop. He's had issues with his loop not twisting. I've tied it a couple times. I tie a double loop where, like, instead of just having a nice loop on the eye, there'll actually be a twist in the loop. You know what I'm talking about there?
Oh yeah.
How do you when you're tying your knot, how do you keep that twist in the loop from happening? Honestly, I'll be honest. When I tie it, it's like great 6 out of 7 times, and then the 7th time, like, my line will be twisted in the loop actually.
So I think that comes from, so how I tie a loop knot is I make an overhand knot first and just keep the circle and, like, don't pull it tight. And then put the line tie through the eye of the jig, and then hold that overhand knot circle right at the base of the eye, and then wrap. And it's got to be something where when he's wrapping the line around and then putting it back through the overhand knot circle, he just puts it through the wrong way. Like,
gotcha.
Where it's not really the wrong way, it still would work probably. But it's just, I always go like, put it.
You keep everything flat.
Yeah. Keep everything flat, and then.
I know what he's talking about, but like, just like you're
I do know what you're talking about.
Tim, I don't know how to describe how to do it, because sometimes when you release it, it'll flip on you when you're going back through to tie it.
And I guess the biggest way is to just keep that overhand knot circle just like flat, like you're saying, on your finger, and keep like pinching it and holding it to where it doesn't move around.
Yeah. It took me a couple months to I tied double loop. So I actually have 2 lines. I do the exact same knot, but double it. So I've got 2, but I'd say it took me 3 months to where I got confident to where I could tie it.
The double loop's hard because the eyes of the jigs sometimes aren't big enough to put the double line. Do you bite down on the line so it goes through easier?
No, I mean, I put it through once, like I'm tying a Palomar, and then go back through and tie it and then get my loop that way, so I'm not putting the actual loop through the eye. So I'll tell you who taught it to me, Joey Cifuentes.
Yeah. I tried that the other day.
He said, "Oh, watch how to do it."
Yeah, I'm pretty positive I have a how to tie a loop knot on Bassmaster somewhere.
Let me see.
I remember Ronnie Moore filming me do that.
You've got a pretty active. I'm surprised you don't have more followers. You've got a really pretty active YouTube channel as well.
Yeah. I guess I don't post weekly, but yeah, check out my YouTube channel and please like and subscribe. My boy Ben Kurska, and then last year Jacob Harden, they filmed for me on there, and and Jack Leventree also edits some for it, and man, it's fun to do, always having a cameraman with you, and it's fun. And you can just see some behind the scenes. It's freaking funny. I like to keep it light and just I'm not one of those guys that has it scripted, and like tells somebody to start recording. I like the more natural stuff, like kind of just be recording. If something funny happens, we'll have it on film,
Yeah. You happy where you're at right now? If you look back over the last 5 years of your life, it's been a pretty crazy ride.
Dude, it's never would have thought it. I did work hard for it because in college, this is not a good thing to say, but I would just be sitting in class and just like, man, I've got to make it in fishing.
What was the backup plan?
Yeah, like I don't want to be working just like a business job or for some agriculture company. I mean, no hate on that. Like, what I'm saying? I want to be fishing for a living. I'm addicted to it. So I kind of went into it like we talked about earlier in the opens that first year, where I was finishing up my degree. Like, I graduated the day of our Wheeler Open that year. And didn't even get to walk or, you know what I mean? Didn't even go to graduation. So, cashed a check in that tournament. So that's the sign that I was like, dang, this is pretty cool.
Last question. It says on your profile that you have the Tennessee record for the most hit by pitch in a single year. You got hit by a pitch 58 times in 1 year.
No, not 1 year. In a career. Yeah, in a career. So my high school baseball career. Yeah, I'm the state record holder in Tennessee. I don't know if it still stands, but whenever, like, I broke that record in the state tournament my senior year. And
do you have the ball?
I think I do somewhere. Yeah, for sure. Like, it was crazy, man. I didn't like talk crap. Like, you know me. I'm just I'm a more of a nicer guy, but I didn't get out of the way when the ball was thrown at me, to put it that way.
And you were a catcher, so you had to be beat the hell up.
Yeah, but I was the leadoff batter, man. Like, that's a weird combo. Being a catcher, getting a pinch runner, but being the leadoff batter. Like, my job was to get on base. And, shoot, I had to block pitches all day, every day. So I was like, my body just seemed to, I don't know. It didn't hurt as bad when I got hit by a ball as it did if I was playing in the outfield. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I was just up there. I did have an Evo shield on my arm, and I would have had more than 58 if it wasn't for that Evo shield.
Have you talked to Hank Cherry or Russ Lane about the old baseball days yet? I know they were both pretty heavily involved.
I haven't, honestly, but I was very heavily involved growing up. That if I wasn't in this industry, it would probably like, if I didn't choose this walk of life, it would have been probably baseball. Like, I chose, like, my road was going like this, and I chose fishing instead of baseball. When I got to college, pretty much, like, I could have went and played baseball in college, honestly.
Because you won a state championship, right?
Oh yeah, 2.
2 state championships.
Oh yeah, yeah. I got to catch for MLB All Star. It was awesome.
Who?
Spencer Strider. He pitches for the Atlanta Braves.
Really?
Me and him, yeah, we graduated together. He's been having some injury issues lately, but he's got a big contract for the Atlanta Braves starting. He's been in their starting rotation for the last several years, and I was his catcher growing up.
So there was a catcher duo in Tennessee high school where the pitcher is now an MLB pitcher and the catcher is now a professional bass fisherman.
Yes. And if you go to the field, like out where you see like the state championship, like banners or whatever, there is also a big banner of him like throwing a pitch in his Braves jersey and then me setting the hook on my bass boat.
No.
It's awesome. Yeah. Like
you got to post that, dude.
Bassmaster Elite Series, pro Robert G, like, you know what I mean? Next to freaking Strider, who's in a Braves jersey throwing a pitch on the mound. It's like, it's not comparable, but it's hilarious.
It's totally comparable.
But yeah, we were the dang battery. You know what I mean? I was his catcher.
Was he just wild? Like, was it just insane how good he was? Like, did everyone know at the time, like, this guy is a freak show?
Oh, dude. And that, I feel like, helps me now, like, with being on live for the first time and everything like that. Like, those days of being in those situations kind of, I guess, calm my nerves a little bit. Because, dude, when we would play a game, there would be 35 scouts there right behind me with radar guns, just radar gunning them in. And, dude, it was crazy. Like, I know one game, there was literally 35 scouts, and he threw 18 strikeouts out of the 21 outs.
Holy smoke.
It was a no-hitter. He walked a guy. The next pitch, he tried to steal, and I threw him out. It was like one walk away from being a perfect game. And it was one pitch away from being it was a perfect game other than one pitch of having a runner on base for one pitch of the game. It was insane.
Guys just get in the box and you could just, you're the closest guy to the hitter. You just knew that you could feel their sense of, you knew that, like, you feel their despair, their lack of hope.
Yes. It was hilarious. Like, they would get in the box, dig in instead of like, gritting their teeth like normal or whatever, like, like getting ready. They would just be like, like, you know what I mean? Just like,
did you ever trash talk it? Were you ever like, dude, you're in here for like 3 pitches and then you'll be back in the dugout, bud?
I didn't even try. I didn't have to, dude. I didn't. Whenever he was pitching, like some of the other pitchers, yeah, like you would have to, maybe do a little baiting and stuff, of pitch locations and stuff to mess with the batters if they were throwing. But dude, he was throwing upper 90s in high school. Like, they had no high school. Like, he didn't have to throw any other pitch. You know what
Did
I'm saying?
you grow up with them too, like through Little League and all that stuff? So, so you like played with them for a long time. Like, you guys had a thing.
Yep. And
you still chat with him?
Yeah, I do. And honestly, shout out to him because he taught me something about, really, honestly, the reason probably why I am fishing on the Elite Series is the hard work aspect. Is because growing up, he was a regular, just good baseball player. And then when he got to college, or not college, when he got to high school, he was one of those guys that just lived and breathed in the weight room and working out and just putting in the extra work and just like really fully investing yourself in that particular thing. And dude, he
could watch it.
So yeah, he just taught me how to work hard, and if you work hard, you'll get what you want,
Did he get drafted out of high school?
He did, but he went and played baseball at Clemson for 2 or 3 years. He didn't graduate, obviously, but he wanted to go to college for a little bit. He didn't get drafted in like the first round, so he went to college.
Fishing with the Bobber, little research there behind. He says, according to Google, you still hold the high school record for hit by pitch.
It was crazy. Like my senior year, I think I got hit 28 times or 30 times in the season. Like I I think I only had like 5 more hits than I did hit by pitches. It was
It's
crazy.
impressive. That's very impressive, dude. All right, I'm gonna let you get to the lake. This has been an hour and 50 minutes. I apologize.
Oh, it's all good. I appreciate you having me on.
You got when the new merch drops. I hit you up when we were at Gunnersville too. When the new merch drops, I want to buy one of those hats. So I mean, I follow you on social media and all that, but give me a little heads up. Like, hey, we're gonna have some drop. We're gonna have a merch drop. I want to get in on that before it sells out.
I'll definitely be posting on social media, no doubt about it.
Because I was asking Logan Parks about it at that thing. I wanted one of his Koike hats. He refused to let me pay for that one, but that Koike hat, the insane Koike, top notch.
It's sick.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I'm getting the ball rolling on that here shortly. And I'd say look out in the next month or two about, I don't know if we're going to do a t-shirt or a hat drop first. Maybe both. Who knows?
And then your top secret JDM minnow jig head. How long are we away from?
I don't know. I don't have a date on that.
We're talking like months, weeks, years.
Hopefully not years, because it has been years. But I did have a meeting at ICAST with this particular company, and we got it pretty finalized.
You're the man. Hopefully you catch. What's your PB Smalley?
A 6.5.
Oh, you got a shot. That's a very realistic shot. That's a big Smalley too.
I would really like to catch a 7-pound smallmouth for sure. That's my goal.
Or you could just shoot for Kyle Patrick, who caught like an 8 something.
Yeah, that would. And what's even worse is I'm pretty positive he caught that fish on the spot I fished the whole time in that tournament.
When he caught that fish, I saw it. Then I called him because he took it into Barb to fizz it and get it weighed and all that stuff. And we went live on BTL with that fish.
I remember that. That was dude, I got to see it. And dude,
what was that like in person?
It looked like a microwave or something. Like it's just like long. It was just as tall as it was long. It just looked like a square. You know what I'm saying?
That's fantastic.
It was crazy. I want to catch something like that. It was unbelievable. Like 23 inches long and 25 inches tall. Like crazy.
Built like a microwave. All right. Thanks for jumping on early in the morning, Robert G. Enjoy the windy conditions up north.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Thanks for having me on.
All right. I enjoyed the hell out of it. See ya.
See ya.
All right. There you go, Robert G. For those who are just jumping on for the 8:30 show, yes, we went live at 7 and then kept him until 9, which is 10 o'clock there. But he said it was windy. I really appreciate the time. Those guys spend a lot of energy and money to go up. So you see them catching the 20, 21, 23, 25, 27, 28 pound bags up north. And you're like, oh, it must be easy with, either the forward facing sonar or they know where to go and they just catch them. You'd be shocked at how much time and effort and money goes in behind the scenes, and rightfully so. I mean, these guys are the professionals. They're the top 100 in their profession. This is what they do for a job. They're fishing for Bassmaster Classic spots. They're fishing for $100,000. They're fishing for top 10s. They're fishing for their sponsors. But sometimes it's hard to get guys on because you get that kind of 30-day windows before, particularly after ICAST, where a bunch of them have been. But wanted to get G on. I've had him jump on as like a guest on other BTL shows, but there's always been like other guests on, so I haven't just gotten to shoot the breeze with him, and really enjoyed that. He's a good dude. I think he'll be around for a long time, and even though he's kind of known for the minnow and the hair, very versatile angler. So we'll take a final break. When we come back, talk about what we have going on for the rest of the week, and a wild day on Champlain yesterday. If you guys were on social media, those guys at the pro circuit out there were battling 5, 6, 7 footers. So it's BTL on a Wednesday, early morning edition. We'll be back right after this.
As a professional angler, there's only one thing that connects you to your paycheck. Probably the most crucial part to tournament bass fishing. I use Sunline because they have a line for every application. Shooter, FX2, All Might, super light line, big stuff, big sticks. Sunline has you covered.
sharp as can be. Super strong, super durable.
Really good penetration.
Thinner and stronger.
Catch fish after fish.
I want to make sure that I'm using the best stuff possible.
World's finest hook.
World's finest hook.
Gamakatsu. World's finest hook.
Hey guys, Brian Schmidt here with Spro. I'm gonna talk to you about the confidence I have in the equipment I use. You know, I have a charter boat business back home in Maryland. We fish for saltwater fish, and I also fish the Bassmasters Elite Series. So I keep my lights on by fishing. I have to have a lot of confidence in the equipment I use. Spro has me covered from head to toe, saltwater, freshwater, everything in between. A lot of high-end quality product. Spro has you covered.
When I'm in a tournament, conditions are constantly changing and every second matters. With the Deep Dive app, I can instantly pull up all the current lake conditions all in one spot. So no more looking at weird government websites. In just one quick glance, I have water clarity, water level, wave forecast. It's all right there in the Deep Dive app. Download the Deep Dive app and get all the tools you need to put together an awesome tournament.
I fish in some of the worst elements across the country. Spring, that's a giant, dude. Summer, oh my gosh. Hi, look at that thing. Winter, it's so cold. And fall, got a big one, that's awesome.
Being comfortable and staying dry is the only option.
AFCO, any fish, any water.
All right, we are back on a Wednesday morning, early Wednesday morning. Got some boat stuff to take care of, get packed for Champlain. Tomorrow, day 4 with Frank Scalish. We announced last week on day 4 that we partnered with Trailer Watchdog, which actually is an app, and then there's some real easy installation that attaches, to your wheels and to your axles. So it tells you the temperature of that and the pressure of your wheels, and then as you're rolling down, you can tell if you're having an issue with one. Basically, it's preventative maintenance for that. But one of the cool things that we're doing, and big shout out to the guys over at Trailer Watchdog for doing this, is if you have a nightmare trailering story, like stuck on the side of the road, hub caught on fire, tire rolled down, something that could have been prevented had you known it was happening before it actually happened. Ooh, I sounded northern there. Happening before it actually happened. You could tell that story through an email, matt@basszone.com and info@basszone.com. Put Trailer Watchdog in the title and tell us your trailering horror story. And this goes through, I believe this goes through August 13th, Thursday, August 13th. So you have that story to get in. We've already got a handful. We've got quite a few guys with some funny, some scary, some crazy stories about it. But if you're selected, you will get to come on day 4 with Frank Scalish and tell that story. And then also receive a free Trailer Watchdog setup. So yeah, Robert G, very likable dude. He's like that off camera too, like just hanging out around the boat with him. Very affable, an affable fella, I believe would be a good way to describe Robert G. So I agree, Clint. It did look like a microwave. That was a quote of the year. So we'll be back with Frank Scalish show tomorrow, 8:30 a.m. Central Time. I do want to mention this before I go. So last night, which was Tuesday night, I gotta give props to Chris and Trey. They're doing he does some like Tuesday night live series where he actually goes live while he's fishing the Tuesday nighter, and they had some issues. It was like 110 degrees in Texas where they were fishing last night, so it's only like an hour live over on the Zal Dangerous YouTube channel. But I was working on some spinning rods, getting some stuff ready for Champlain, and had that on. He had the chesty, had good audio, had stuff from the graph. He was out. He caught like a freaking 9 or 10 pounder who is live on it, but he's live streaming his Tuesday nighters. And then he's also, this is one of the things that Zaldain is the best at when he's on camera, is teaching while he fishes in, well, I'm not saying a Tuesday nighter is a high pressure situation, but teaching while he fishes in a tournament. And I think that's kind of his bread and butter. And he went through some urchin stuff and some electronic stuff and some boat positioning stuff and throwing a big spoon and a big worm and all sorts of stuff. It's worth going back and watching. It's really good educational stuff. Yes, Matt at basszone.com for that story for the Trailer Watchdog, and then also send it to info@basszone.com. And then just put Trailer Watchdog story in the title, and then we'll talk about it more on the day fours as it goes, and then we'll announce the winner in the middle of August there. But no, I learned a lot watching it. He was only live for like an hour. He was live the week before for like all 3 or 4 hours when he won that tournament, but they're doing some really cool stuff with the live over there, kind of one-off Tuesday nighters all across Texas and some smaller fisheries. So if you're got an itch for some more fishing stuff, watch that. Also, a lot of live coverage coming up this weekend. You got the NPFL on the St. Lawrence River. You got the pro circuit on Lake Champlain. A bunch of guys got stuck out on Lake Champlain yesterday, 5-6 footers. A bunch of guys also didn't even go out. So that's all we got for today. Big shout out to Robert G for taking a little bit of time off the water. I think he said it was pretty windy today too, so I don't feel too bad about that. But we'll talk to everyone tomorrow. See ya.